Hello friends and welcome to the next session in the solid state, close packing. Arrangement of the particles with minimum empty space, we call it as a close packing. And we are going to see close packing in the crystalline solids. We are learning about one-dimensional close packing, two-dimensional close packing, and also on three-dimensional close packing. Now you may be thinking that crystalline solids are having three-dimensional structures. Why to learn one-dimensional, two-dimensional close packings? We are going to build three-dimensional close packing by using one-dimensional and two-dimensional close packing. So all are having some links in between them. Therefore, we are going to start first with one-dimensional close packing. Now see, we are moving to the first part in the close packing. One-dimensional close packing. Arrangement of the particles with minimum empty space, we call it as close packing. First we are learning one-dimensional close packing. See, we take particles as the hard spheres, and now in one-dimensional close packing we are moving only along the x-axis. I am going to show by using some animations and diagrams. Now we are moving along x-axis. Look at the coordination number of the particle. You consider any one particle and see it is in contact with how many other particles, neighboring particles. If I take any one particle, it is in contact with the two other particles. Therefore, coordination number becomes 2. This is the one-dimensional close packing. Now, by using one-dimensional close packing, we are going to see two-dimensional close packing. Two-dimensional close packing in the sense we are moving along x and y axis. Let us take one-dimensional close packing. By using one-dimensional close packing, we are building now two-dimensional close packing. Now see, there are two possibilities. Either we have to arrange the spheres exactly one above another, or we have to place the other layers above the first layer or below the first layer in the depressions of the spheres. Depressions of the spheres in the sense wherever the spheres are joining at this point we are going to place the spheres of the other layer. Okay, now we are going to see the first one where we are placing the spheres of all the layers one above another. Just look at the arrangement. I have shown the arrangement. Okay, now alignment of all the spheres in the layers is same. Now there is some empty space you are observing. That empty space we call it as void or interstitial site. Empty space present between the particles, we call it as void or interstitial site. Consider any one atom or the sphere, and you see it is in contact with how many other atoms or the spheres. Clearly, one atom is in contact with 4 other atoms or the spheres. As a result, we are getting a square on joining the 4 contacting atoms. And this is called first type of close packing in 2 dimension. We call it as square close packing in 2 dimension. As I told, what is the other possibility? Now consider one-dimensional close packing and place the spheres of other layers in the depressions of the first layer. And just compare the alignment. Alignments are not matching alternately. Okay, and look at the void now. We are getting a very smaller void compared to the void we got in square close packing. And shape of the void, you see it looks like a triangle. You can call the void as a triangular void. Consider any one atom and see it is in contact with the 6 other atoms. Join the centers of contacting atoms and look at the structure. You are getting a hexagon. We are calling this close packing as hexagonal close packing. So in 2 dimension we got 2 types of close packings: square close packing and hexagonal close packing. And even we came across void. Empty space present between the particles, we call it as void or interstitial site. Now, by using 2-dimensional close packing, we are going to build 3-dimensional close packing. First, we are building three-dimensional square close packing. And once again, for building three-dimensional close packing, we take two-dimensional close packed layers. I'm going to consider two-dimensional square close packed layer as A, place it horizontally, and other similar layers you go on arranging one above another. Perfect square you are getting. So in a 3-dimension, whatever the close packing now you are observing with the same alignment of the spheres in all the layers. If I take the first layer as A, second layer also we take it as A because the alignment is same. It means first layer goes on repeating. So this is the square close packing in 3-dimension. Square close packing in 3-dimension. Now we go for the next. We take 2-dimensional hexagonal close packing and we are going to build 3-dimensional close packing. Now when you concentrate on building 3-dimensional close packing by hexagonal close packing, look at the arrangement of the atoms. We have to arrange the atoms so that minimum empty space is left. I am going to place now second layer. Let us take 2-dimensional hexagonally close packed layer as the first layer. I am going to name it as A. Now I am placing second layer above the triangular voids of the first layer so that minimum empty space is left. All the triangular voids cannot be filled. I am going to arrange some blue colored particles above the triangular voids which are having effects in the upward direction. Okay. Now all the triangular voids cannot be filled. Only some triangular voids are filled and some are empty. Slightly color of the second layer I am going to reduce and check the void now we are getting. Compare the alignment also. Second layer alignment is not matching with the first layer alignment. And you see void, we are getting two types of voids. One is indicated by T and another is indicated by O. T corresponds to tetrahedral void. It is the void present between 4 atoms or the spheres. And another type of void we are getting, it's called octahedral void. This is the void present between 6 atoms. Void present between 4 atoms is called a tetrahedral void. It looks like a regular tetrahedron. Void present between 6 atoms is called octahedral void. It's a regular octahedron. Now we go for placing third layer. We are placing now third layer and other layers above second layer. When you go for placing third layer and other layer above the second layer, there are two possibilities. What are the two possibilities? Either spheres of the third layer occupy tetrahedral voids or occupy octahedral voids. Let us take the path A. What we do in the path A? Spheres of the third layer placed above the second layer so that atoms or the spheres occupy tetrahedral voids. And compare the alignment. Similarly, place the fourth layer above the tetrahedral voids of third layer, continue in that way and go on comparing the alignment. First layer alignment matching with the third. Second layer alignment is matching with the fourth. It continues. Okay. It means two layers are repeating. AB goes on repeating. This is called hexagonal close packing. And hexagonal close packing, in short, we write it as HCP. So if AB goes on repeating, we are calling it as hexagonal close packing. Now we go for the path B. What is done in the path B? Third layer is placed above the second layer so that spheres of the third layer occupy octahedral voids. Similarly, you go on placing the other higher layers so that higher layer spheres occupy octahedral voids of the lower layer. Now I am placing third layer and compare the alignment. as shown by green colored sphere, you can see the alignment. First layer, second layer, third layer alignments are not matching. It means 3 layers are repeating. When you see the 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th and other layers, first layer alignment matches with 4th. Second layer alignment matches with 5th. And third layer alignment matches with the 6th. It means 3 layers are repeating. So 3 layers they gone repeating. Let us take the repetition as ABC, ABC. So 3 layers are repeating. Simplify the structure. It looks like a cube. You can call it as cubic close packing. Cubic close packing, in short, we call it as CCP. Not only that, this is also called as face-centered close packing. In short, we call it as FCCP. So this is how we explain about the close packing. What we have to remember in this, don't worry too much on one-dimensional, two-dimensional close packing. Concentrate on three-dimensional close packing. Remember definition of tetrahedral void, octahedral void. Void is surrounded by 4 atoms is called tetrahedral void. Void is surrounded by 6 atoms is called octahedral void. And after that, if I take A type of close packing in 3 dimension, it is square close packing. AB type of close packing is called hexagonal close packing. ABC close packing is called cubic close packing. Remember one important note which is very essential for solving the problems on the solid state. See, if I take n number of atoms involved in the close packing, if n atoms are involved in close packing, remember number of tetrahedral voids and number of octahedral voids. Number of tetrahedral voids and number of octahedral voids. I have written T for tetrahedral void and O for octahedral void. So these are not the standard short forms. We are writing for our convenience. If n is the number of atoms involved in close packing, remember we get a 2n tetrahedral voids and n octahedral voids. Say for example, if I take FCCP, face-centered close packing, we have done the calculation of number of atoms per unit cell in FCC. It's 4. So if 4 atoms are involved in close packing, number of tetrahedral voids is equal to 8 and number of octahedral voids is equal to 4. This hint you have to remember. We see problems on this concept when we go for the session related to the problems. So this is all about the close packing. Now we see another term in solid state, packing efficiency. Percentage of the total space occupied by the particles in the unit cell, we call it as packing efficiency. So whatever the available empty space is there, within that how much space is filled by the particles, that we are going to calculate, and that only we are calling it as packing efficiency. Percentage of the total space filled by the particles is called packing efficiency. What we do in this, we are going to first calculate volume occupied by the spheres. It's very easy. If you know the volume occupied by the spheres in the unit cell, divide that by volume of unit cell. It is nothing but the total available volume. Multiply by 100. Whatever the ratio you are getting, that ratio is called packing efficiency. Look at the formula for packing efficiency. I'm going to write in short as PE for packing efficiency. As I told you, it's not the standard short form. Okay, we are using for our convenience. PE is equal to, and don't write such short forms in exam. Write full words, packing efficiency. Now packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by the spheres or the atoms in the unit cell divided by total volume of the unit cell, multiply by 100, we get in terms of percentage. See, if you are not multiplying 100, we get this ratio in terms of a fraction. Then whatever the result we get, we call it as packing fraction. So in some books or in some exams, instead of giving packing efficiency, they are going to give packing fraction. The only difference is efficiency we take in terms of percentage, and without percentage, the fraction we are getting is called packing fraction. Let us go for next calculation of packing efficiency with respect to cubic system. And first calculation we do, calculation of packing efficiency in FCC. We know this. FCC is nothing but CCP. We learnt about this in the close packing. Whatever the packing efficiency we are getting in the FCC, it is same in HCP. See, don't get confused with HCP and CCP. These two close packings are different. AB close packing is called hexagonal close packing. ABC close packing is called cubic close packing. Close packings are different, but the packing efficiency is same. Say for example, we can take the examples of two classrooms. Classrooms are different, but the sitting capacity is same in that way. Okay, like this, we are going to see the calculation of packing efficiency in FCC. For this, let us take A as edge length and R is radius of a sphere, which is nothing but the atom. A is the edge length, R is the radius of the sphere or the atom we take. We draw a FCC unit cell. So this is one FCC unit cell we are drawing. Label the corners. So this is the corner A, this is the corner B, C, D, E, and this is the corner F, G, H. We labeled the corners as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now, this is the edge length which we have taken it as A. I am going to consider three atoms, spheres. One is at corner A, another is at corner C, another is at the face center A, B, C, D. All these are in contact with one another. So this is the first atom with radius R at the corner A, and this is the second atom with radius R only, present at the center of the face A, B, C, D, and this is the third atom with the center C. So we have taken three atoms. One is at corner A, another is at corner C, and another atom at the center of the face A, B, C, D, so that all these three are in contact with one another. Join corner A to the C. We have taken body diagonal AC. Just look at the value of AC in terms of R. R, so this is nothing but R plus R, 2R, 3R, and this is 4R. So what is the value of AC in terms of R? We get the value of AC from the diagram 4R. The value of AC is 4R. Now apply Pythagoras theorem to the right angle triangle ABC. From right angled triangle ABC, what we can write? AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. AB and BC, once again they are the edge lengths. We know the value of AC. AC is nothing but 4R. So I can write 4R whole square is equal to AB is edge length A square, AB square A square, BC square is also A square. This is nothing but 2A square. Bring the square to the right side. I can write 4R is equal to root 2A. From this, bring this root 2 to the left side. We are getting A is equal to 4R divided by root 2. So what is the value of A we are getting then? A is equal to, bring this root 2 to the left side. 4 by root 2 is nothing but 2 root 2. So we get the value of A in terms of R. A is equal to 2 root 2R. A is equal to 2 root 2R. This is the relation between A and R, which you have to remember so that you can solve some problems related to the relation. R may be given and asked to calculate A, or A will be given and asked to calculate R. Edge length radius of the atom relation. A is equal to 2 root 2R. What is the use of this A then? See, by using A, we are going to calculate volume of unit cell. Since we have taken cubic system with edge length A, we are getting volume of unit cell is equal to A is the length, cube of length is nothing but volume. So volume of unit cell is equal to A cube. A is equal to 2 root 2R. Cube of 2 root 2R we take now. So the volume of unit cell is 2 root 2R raised to 3. 2 cube is 8. Root 2 raised to 3 is 2 root 2. 8 into 2 16. So I can write volume of unit cell as 16 root 2R cube. From the mathematics, we know the formula of volume of sphere. Volume of sphere is nothing but volume of one sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. We know the number of atoms per unit cell in FCC, it's 4. One sphere volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Therefore, we take volume occupied by 4 spheres. Volume occupied by 4 spheres. 4 into 4 by 3 pi r cube, we are getting 16 by 3 pi r cube. Now we know the volume of spheres, we know the volume of unit cell. Apply the formula of packing efficiency. Packing efficiency is nothing but volume occupied by 4 spheres divided by volume of unit cell into 100%. Volume occupied by 4 spheres divided by volume of unit cell into 100%. So this is 16 by 3 pi r cube divided by 16 root 2 r cube into 100%. Cancel r cube with the r cube, 16 with the 16. Pi is equal to 3.142. Substitute the value, simplify. You get the packing efficiency 74% in FCC. So if I take the total volume 100%, packing efficiency is 74%, we left with a 26% of empty space. It is nothing but the white. So this is about the packing efficiency in FCC. Okay, let us go for the next calculation. Packing efficiency in body-centered cubic system, BCC. Again, I have taken edge length as A, radius of the sphere as R. Same unit cell we used in FCC calculation. Corners labeled as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Again, we take an atom or a sphere at the corner A. Let us take another atom at the center of the body. So this is the body-centered atom. It is in contact with the atom present at the corner A. Let us take another atom at the corner EF, which is in contact with a body-centered atom. Now just see, I have taken 3 atoms or the spheres. One is at corner A, another is at the corner F, and this is the body-centered sphere. All these are in contact with one another. Now I am going to join corner A to the F. I am going to show this by using some dotted line. Corner A I have joined to the F and also join corner F to the D. All this we are doing just to get the relation between A and R. By applying Pythagoras theorem, considering some right angle triangle, we try to get the relation between A and R, which is useful for calculating volume of unit cell. By using volume of unit cell, volume of sphere, we can easily find packing efficiency. Now, look at the value of AF, diagonal AF in terms of R. So what is the value of AF in terms of R? AF is equal to, again, R plus R, 3R, and this is 4R. So AF value is 4R. First, I am going to consider right angled triangle EFD. So this is the right angled triangle EFD. I can write FD square is equal to EF square plus ED square. EF square plus ED square. Now FD square value we are getting from this. EF square is, EF is A, so therefore this is A square. ED is also A, this is also A square. So we get FD square is equal to 2A square. Now after getting FD value, let us take a right angle triangle AFD so that we get relation between A and R. Now we take the next right angle triangle. From right angled triangle AFD, check what we can write. From right angle triangle AFD, we can write AF square is equal to FD square plus AD square. We know the value of AF, it's 4R. FD we calculated, it's 2A square, FD square. AD is once again the edge length, it is also A square. So I can write 4R whole square is equal to 2A square plus A square. This is nothing but 3A square. So what about the 4R then? This becomes 3A square, transfer the square to the right side. This is 3A square, transfer the square to the right side. 4R is equal to root 3A. Next, bring this root 3 to the left. You can write 4R divided by root 3 is nothing but A. Now we got the value of A in terms of R. In BCC, A is equal to 4R divided by root 3. By using A, we can calculate volume of a unit cell. Volume of unit cell is equal to, it's nothing but A cube. So we can write 4R divided by root 3 raised to 3. This is nothing but 4 cube is 64. 64 R cube divided by 3 root 3. So we got the volume of unit cell 64 R cube divided by 3 root 3. Volume of one sphere is 4 by 3 pi R cube. Now directly I am going to take volume of two spheres. Why we take volume of two spheres then? This is because we are doing calculation in BCC. We know number of atoms per unit cell in BCC. Therefore, volume of two spheres is equal to 2 into 4 by 3 pi R cube, 8 by 3 pi R cube. So these are the values we require for finding packing efficiency. Volume of unit cell, volume of sphere. What is the formula for packing efficiency? Packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by sphere. Let us take two spheres divided by volume of a unit cell, and this is multiplied by 100%. Substitute. Volume occupied by two spheres is 8 by 3 pi R cube. Volume occupied by volume of unit cell is 64 R cube by 3 root 3. Packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by two spheres 8 by 3 pi R cube. This is divided by volume of unit cell 64 R cube divided by 3 root 3. This is multiplied by 100%. Okay. Now check. I can cancel R cube with the R cube, 3 with the 3. Simplify the remaining values. You get the packing efficiency in BCC 68% after simplification. So this is all about the packing efficiency in BCC. Now we take the last calculation, packing efficiency in a simple cubic system, and we do the same consideration once again. A edge length, R radius of the atom. In this calculation we are not considering entire unit cell, it's not required. We are considering 4 spheres present at the 4 corners. These are the 4 spheres present at the 4 corners of a unit cell. So this is one face of the unit cell and these are all the corners. Okay. Now directly we are getting relation between A and R. So this is nothing but the edge length A. So from the diagram directly I can write relation between A and R. A is equal to 2R. Now what is the equation for volume of unit cell then? Volume of unit cell is nothing but A cube is 2r, so therefore 2r raised to 3, it is nothing but 8r cube. Now we take volume of one sphere. Number of atoms per unit cell in simple cubic system is 1. Therefore, we take volume of one sphere. It is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Volume of unit cell we got 8 r cube. Volume of sphere we are getting 4 by 3 pi r cube. Therefore, packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by one sphere divided by volume of a unit cell multiplied by 100%. Volume of a sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Volume of unit cell is 8 r cube. This is multiplied by 100%. Cancel r cube with the r cube. Remaining things you simplify. You get the answer 52.36% rounded to 52.4%. So this is the value of packing efficiency we are getting in simple cubic system.